Are you sick of sitting in front of your computer to watch your downloaded movies and your HD content? Well, basically we have 3 different solutions here today that will allow you to easily get files, including HD files, from your computer to your television. We've got the WD-TV from Western Digital, the DSM330 from D-Link, and the Popcorn Hour Networked Media Tank. So we're going to show you a little bit about these units. Stay tuned. Now the WD-TV is the most basic of the units we have here today. It's got 2 USB ports, HDMI out, optical audio out, and it's got composite video and stereo audio out as well. Now the other 2 units have all of that and more. The DSM330 has coaxial audio out, S-video out, component video out, and it also has a LAN port and a wireless antenna. That's because this is a network unit only. It has no internal storage and it doesn't read off a USB hard drive. The Popcorn Hour has, again, the same as the DSM330, component video out and S-video. It has no coaxial audio out, but it does have a couple of USB ports at the back. One of those you can use for a USB storage device like the WD-TV, and the other one you can use to turn the network media tank into a USB storage device itself. You put a hard drive inside, plug it into the computer, and you can drag and drop files onto the internal hard drive on the Popcorn Hour. It's got an Ethernet port because it is a network media player as well, and let's talk about the remotes a little bit too. The Popcorn Hour has the most advanced remote out of the 3 units we're looking at here today, with the D-Link coming up second and the WD having by far the most basic remote. So the cameraman had some interesting questions for me off camera. How do these actually work? So basically the WD-TV, I plugged it in, I plugged a hard drive with some media files in it. Within about 2 minutes I had navigated my folder structure, found the files, and played them. It was that simple. It's really simple. The disadvantage is you can't stream over the network, and you do actually have to physically pick up something, copy your files, and walk across the room. That's the only disadvantage. Now, the DSM330 it took a little while. It probably took me a good half hour to an hour of Googling to get MKV working up to 720p. However, unlike the other 2, it has wireless out of the box. So that means that even though I can't just use a physical medium like a hard drive or copy files directly to the device, I can stream everything. The disadvantage is you have to have a PC on all the time. Now the DSM330 had a great UI. It was pretty snappy compared to the WD, and I found the thumbnail previews were excellent. The Popcorn Hour is, again, the Cadillac. It's got the best UI out of the 3 here. You've got all the connectivity of the other 2, plus more. So you can actually put a hard drive inside it and copy files to it. So you don't need a PC on, and you also don't have to walk around moving your Popcorn Hour or moving an external hard drive. Now the inside of the Popcorn Hour really gives us some insight into the DIY sort of roots of this device. You can see it's basically, it's like something that you would build if you could buy a motherboard for the Popcorn Hour and stick it in an enclosure, which, by the way, you can. There's a B version of the Popcorn Hour you can install in an ITX case. Now see, you've got your drive rails for just a standard SATA 2 hard drive. You can check out the Popcorn Hour forums for a long list of compatible hard drives. And the Popcorn Hour does have a huge community following. So that means you can find support to do pretty much anything you want, from custom UIs to anything under the sun with this device. It's also got support out of the box for more than any of the other 2, including weird aspect ratios like 16:10 if you wanted to use a computer display, which I did test. And honestly, the Popcorn Hour, if you can afford it, is the best option of the 3 we have today. Now, we just declared the Popcorn Hour the winner, but just because something does everything doesn't mean it's necessarily the right decision for you, because it is the most expensive. It's also the biggest, and it's also not the easiest to use. The WD-TV was the easiest to use out of everything we looked at today, and it's also the least expensive. So if you don't mind copying your files and just walking across the room, getting a little bit of exercise, the WD-TV might be perfect for you. Now, the DSM330 we felt was a really good compromise because it does offer the network capabilities that neither of the other 2 can really match out of the box, because it does have wireless G as well as Ethernet. It also runs off the DivX server, so that means the community support through DivX is actually quite excellent. And at the price, it has a wide variety of outputs, including coming with almost all of the cables for them, unlike the other 2. Thank you for watching NCIX Tech Tips. Now, because the DSM330 is dependent on a server PC running the DivX connected server, it means that there's a couple disadvantages or advantages depending how you look at it. First of all, you can do everything wirelessly. That means you can take your media using something like a DWA556 from the PC to your router and then stream it directly from the router to the DSM330 with no wires at all. The others can't really compete with that. Now, the DSM330 does depend on the CPU power of that server PC. All of the decoding of the media files is done on the PC and then streamed. So it means if you have a very old computer, it's not going to work very well, especially for HD.